Good afternoon and welcome to the Pittsburgh Land Bank Board of Directors meeting for Friday, February 12, 2021. Because of the pandemic, we are holding our meetings virtually through Zoom. Julie, if you would please call the roll.
Yes. Let me share screen really quickly. All right. Director Anderson?
Here.
Dr. Bay? Dr. Bay, I think you're muted.
I'm here.
There you are. Thank you. Reverend Burgess?
Here.
Senator Fontana?
Here.
Councilwoman Carol Smith?
Here.
Councilman Lavelle?
Here.
Director Mazza?
Here.
Director Walker?
Here.
And Director Wilson?
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you very much. You were emailed a copy of the January 2021 minutes. I need a motion to approve the January minutes.
So moved.
Your second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, there's nay. The first thing I'd like to do as we move into my report is to welcome Doug Anderson as our newest board member. We are the best board in the city of Pittsburgh. We are the friendliest, and we have the best gardener, among other things, in the city of Pittsburgh. So we welcome you to our board, and we are looking forward very much for your participation, your insight. I am great fan of yours. And so congratulations and welcome to our board.
Well, thank you, Reverend. I look forward to working with you all.
All right, thank you, Doug. All right, next Julia, we're gonna go to your administrator update.
Yes, thank you. So first up, wanted to give an update on the new URA PLB agreement. So as a reminder, the URA drafted a new cooperation agreement for services and facilities buy-in between the Pittsburgh Land Bank and the URA. When signed, this agreement will terminate the existing MOA that was signed in 2018. Staff met with the executive committee at the beginning of January to walk through the agreement, and we anticipate at least one more meeting will be needed with the executive committee before the agreement is finalized. And as a reminder to the board, at the November 2020 meeting, the board voted to allow the executive committee to negotiate and enter into contract with the URA. Secondly, just wanted to give a quick update on some of our work to date since we've started working in this new capacity in November. So as a reminder, we're looking to hire for a full-time staff member who's really needed to continue to advance the PLB's mission and goals. URA posted for a PLB manager position in mid-December, received over 20 applications, and we are currently conducting interviews. Hope to get somebody in soon. Some other things that we've been working on to date. Mimi and I have been working to get the PLB website up and running. We talked about this a little bit last month after Director Legger's resignation. The website at some point went dark, so have been doing a lot of work to get the website up and running again. Thank you, Mimi, for getting that done. The city reached out to ask if the PLB would want to share its agendas and minutes on Legistar. So Mimi and I worked to compile all of the agendas and minutes from, I think, 2015 through present to get them over to the city so that they're accessible. Worked to submit an extension request for the Heinz grant for $50,000 and are currently working to put together an extension request for the $400,000 grant with the Heinz endowments. And we have a small working group at the URA that's been working with the city to identify those initial properties that would be good candidates for transfer to the PLB. We've paused this work momentarily due to an opportunity that came up on our legislative agenda for 2021 to pursue an amendment to the municipal claims and tax lien law. That's a really good opportunity to make sure the land bank is able to use sheriff's sale. So we jumped on that opportunity and have been working to advance that. Next up on my update is a PLB bylaws amendment. So as we discussed in November, the URA is recommending an amendment to Article 2, Section 5 of the PLB bylaws. Currently, the PLB has paper checks that require a wet ink signature from the treasurer and a wet ink counter signature by the chair or the executive director. The COVID-19 pandemic has made this really difficult. So to date, URA has been paying for all PLB operating expenses with its own funds because we can't get checks cut because they required, being handwritten and hand signed. So we are recommending additions to this section to allow for the cooperation agreement that's approved by the board to speak to these funding practices. And this change allows more flexibility with regards to check signing. Section 8 of the bylaws allows for amendments to be made from time to time as needed with a majority vote of members of the board. So I'm going to pull up the draft language that we circulated, and I'll just give everybody a minute to read over it one more time to make sure it's clear what we're asking for. Does anybody have any questions about this proposed change?
Yeah, I don't really exactly understand how it serves your purpose of getting checks, of getting rid of paper checks.
It allows for the cooperation agreement that's approved by the board to speak to policies around check signing. So where it says except otherwise authorized by resolution of the board or cooperation agreement, adds in flexibility for us to allow other methods for paying bills instead of following the the paper check with the 2 wet ink signatures.
So here with this agreement, all checks that will be signed are still authorized by this board, right?
Yeah, I don't see that changing.
Right.
You've seen the written amendment. Any more conversation about the written amendment? If not, I need a motion to amend our bylaws with the written amendment.
Motion to approve.
I need a second. Any other conversation? Hearing no conversation, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Julie.
Thank you. One other update from the URA. One of our recommendations from our finance department was switching the PLB over or setting the PLB up to use ACH payments. We discussed this again at our November 2020 meeting, and ACH payments are a type of electronic bank-to-bank payment. The URA switched over to this method at the beginning of the pandemic. It's our primary method of paying bills right now and seems to be working pretty smoothly. So we did a little bit of research into this. I worked really closely with our director of finance and assistant director of finance, and it looks like the URA is able to add the Pittsburgh Land Bank's account onto the URA's profile. Under this situation or arrangement, the PLB will still maintain its own separate bank account, and this saves us something like a $200 a month fee. It saves us a lot of money, so it's a good opportunity to utilize the URA. Expected fees are when you use ACH transactions, you have to have this little token, and it looks like this is not the exact one that ours is, but it looks like almost like a little calculator that our finance department keeps secure, and that's what they use to make ACH transfers. So a separate token, there's a total of $65 in charges, and then they charge 16 cents per ACH transaction. It's a standard fee that they charge. So that's what we're looking at if we switch over to ACH transactions. Once the PLB bylaws are amended and the co-op is signed, the URA can begin work to set up the PLB to perform ACH transfers. And one other thing that our finance director recommended as an additional recommendation is setting the PLB up to have printed checks with safe signatures on them. So instead of having to handwrite checks out and then having, Dr. Bay used to have to come into downtown and sign them, and Rev would have to come over and sign them. Instead of doing that, having safe signatures that would print on checks is my understanding of how it would work. So just wanted to give a quick update there. Does that make sense to everybody? Sound good?
It's just how we're doing business in the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
is.
probably beyond the pandemic. I mean, this makes sense. This is going to be one of those changes that last.
Yeah. And I think it professionalizes our operations as we scale up and we start to do more activity. I think that these things will be helpful in ensuring that we can progress and move forward without acquiescing the board's authority.
Definitely.
Yep.
Great. Moving on to the finance report. So this board historically has had a finance report every meeting. So we've started to, Mimi and I in our spare time while we're moonlighting, working for the PLB, have started to put together reports and are working to get them more detailed as we keep going. So this month, Mimi and I prepared a list of expenditures from November 2020 when we started with the PLB to present, just to make sure everybody's aware of what we're working on. So a lot of them relate to the website when it went dark, getting the domain up and running again, paying an old outstanding invoice to the website company. McGee Maruka was our audit. Bailey Robb is our insurance advisor, and then Post-Gazette notice. So these are expenses that the PLB has incurred from November 2020 to present.
Julie, do I have to,
Anybody have-
do I need a board action to, or is this just for our review, or do I need a board action to accept them?
I believe it's just for your review. I believe staff is authorized to pay expenditures under $5,000.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Wanted to move on to legislative updates?
Yes.
Great. So Senator Fontana, if you want to provide any update on MICTL, I did just want to remind everybody it's been a while since we talked about MICTL, so just wanted to remind everybody what the act is and why it's important, and happy to do that first if that makes sense.
Yeah, Julie, I mean, I could just quickly say that there was obviously a meeting among all of us, my staff and your staff and you, I guess, to talk about what changes to be made. So what we've decided to do is to go forward with that, write the amendment, and then do some hearings or discussions on it, because I'm sure the way it works up there, so once you write it, that's when everybody weighs in. When you ask them to weigh in before you write it, they just yawn and don't pay too much attention. So we'll get their attention by writing it. Those folks that may want to push back or have some suggestions. But as we noted, there was, Philadelphia does things one way, but that doesn't mean we're going to do it their way. We're going to make sure there's transparency and accountability as we go forward. I think that was some of the main requests or focus. So as we move forward, we'll keep everybody informed, but there'll be more of us talking about that. So we went through the first step, and we'll keep moving.
Great. Yeah, thank you for that. So just to make sure everybody is aware of what MICTL is, the Municipal Claims and Tax Lien Law. It's been a couple years, I think, since we've really talked about this. But MICTL is a state law that talks about tax liens and how they can be filed, and the effect of sheriff sales on them, and that's important to the PLB. So currently, as Senator Fontana said, MICTL extends rights to Philadelphia, a first-class city, that it does not extend to Pittsburgh, a second-class city. So this proposed bill would allow the city of Pittsburgh to have the same rights as the city of Philadelphia under sheriff sales. Under the current MICTL legislation, when second-class cities file a lien against a property, it does not become automatically a judgment against the property, which means it does not meet the threshold to be placed into a sheriff sale. So this bill, if passed, would automatically allow liens that are filed to become a judgment and meet the threshold to be placed into a sheriff sale. And that's important because the PLB has that special power to be able to use priority bids at sheriff sale. Currently, we use the treasurer's sale process. It doesn't result in a clear title until after a separate quiet title action has happened. Sheriff sales provide cleaner titles. And again, like land banks are not granted priority bid in a treasurer sale. So it's really important to get this bill passed so that the PLB can use its powers of priority bid at sheriff sale. Otherwise, we're stuck with the inefficient and lengthy treasurer sale. And just as a reminder,
I'd like to add something to that when you're done.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, I'd just like to point out that the Treasury sale is also the voice for City Council, which is the voice of the people. And we don't necessarily have those with the other things. And the Treasury sale did work well years ago. We moved a lot of properties and a lot of things were happening. So I think that things work as well as you want them to work.
I think that's one of the points that was made was that about the, the transparency and accountability with the process. It's something that maybe isn't happening in Philadelphia that we want to happen in Pittsburgh. To the Councilwoman's point, we want to make sure there is a voice there. The biggest thing I think is the time. We can expedite the process of taking title, but we still have to have a process in there that there is a voice from City Council or others that want to weigh in on this. So that's the balance that we're trying to attain right now in the conversations that we're having. So that's a good point.
Great. And then my last point, I just wanted to remind everybody, integrating the PLB as an affiliate entity doesn't change Pittsburgh's rights granted under MCTL. So just one other reason that this amendment is needed. So just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of and reminded on MCTL, since it's been quite a while since we talked about it.
So question, these changes would apply only to sheriff's sale, not treasurer, no changes in treasurer sale law?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we're only looking to make changes to second-class cities as they relate to a sheriff's sale.
Julie, does this have any impact on the property reserve as it currently exists? Does this create some level of functionality in that process or another pathway to functionality?
So right now, the property reserve is an agreement with the city that talks specifically about treasurer sales, and we haven't finalized how the Pittsburgh property reserve would function under the PLB. But I think the main thing here is giving us flexibility. Like the treasurer sale could be appropriate at certain times, but it's good to have, all of the tools in the toolbox. If we need to gain access to a property quickly, sheriff's sale might be the best option because we can utilize our priority bid and we don't have to go through the long quieting title process. So I think it's good just to have access to all of the tools in the toolbox. We have tons of vacant and abandoned property in Pittsburgh, and utilizing the treasurer sale for all of them would take a really long time, as I think we know now.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, thank you, Julie, for all of your work. As you say, moonlighting, but you're being very efficient. We can't tell the truth we won't know the difference rather between your hobby and your focus, because they all are seamlessly and expertly done. I do want to say that we are very, 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 very grateful and fortunate to have a state senator on our board, right? So that we can directly link up with state government. So we're lucky to have a state senator on our board, but we're even more fortunate to have Senator Fontana, who has expertise in real estate, and he knows, and I'll say this publicly, he has been my friend, and I'm very fortunate. He's been my friend from the beginning. He took a chance on the young preacher and has been supportive and a mentor to me from the very beginning of my political career. And so he knows I'm very, 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 very fond and grateful to him for his long-standing friendship. So we're grateful to have his expertise on this board.
Thank you.
Can I add to that? I just want to say I agree. I mean, Senator Fontana's been amazing, not only on the Land Bank board, but also in our districts and in our communities. When as a senior member, he gets so much done without any kind of fuss or fanfare. He just gets the things done. So I just want to thank him for all that he does for the whole city.
Thank you.
He's a very humble man, but he's extraordinarily effective.
Thank you.
And he's someone I try to emulate. I don't do a good job of it. I don't have the hair to do it, but I'm working on it, right? I am working on it. That brings us to new business. Is there any new business?
No, but I am going to say you're very effective too.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't think we have public comment, Julie. Now listen, even though it says 2 o'clock, we're going into an executive session on employment. and it's extremely important that we all get on. It will not be long, but I need you to get on now so we can, even though it says 2, Julie, we can get on now, right?
Yes.
Yes. So let's get on the Zoom call now. It will not be very long, but we need to talk about it so the executive committee can execute the agreement with the URA. That's the purpose of it, is for employment and hiring the new person through the URA. So we need you to get on the Zoom meeting.
Julie, is that a separate link? Is that a separate link that we?
Yes, it should be a separate link. Does everybody have the separate link?
I don't know that I do, Julie. Can you send it?
Yeah, Mimi can send it to you right now.
It's in your
Could you
calendar.
send it to me too, please?
Yeah, she has it on your calendar if you already
Okay.
accepted that.
Okay.
That wouldn't hurt to send it again, Julie.
Definitely.
Any other concerns or comments? If not,
Motion to adjourn.
Happy Black History Month, and we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposers, nay. I'll see you in a few minutes.